Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. I am Abhineet Shukla and with me is Alvin Massey, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring to you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India and Singapore launch digital payment mechanism for faster cross-border transactions between their residents. India's President Draupadi Murmu says Arunachal Pradesh is an important part of the country and a major stakeholder in its Act East policy. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh speaks to British counterpart Ben Wallace, discusses ways to boost defence ties. India remains fastest growing major economy in the world, says Asian Development Bank chief. Russia decides to suspend participation in new START treaty for nuclear arms control with United States. Death toll rises to 8 after fresh earthquake hits Turkey-Syria border, nearly 300 people injured. Diplomatic corps at China's Guangzhou hail International Year of Millets 2023 celebrations by Indian consulate. And India's young shooter Rudraksh Balasaheb Patil wins gold medal at ISSF Shooting World Cup in Egypt. India and Singapore have launched a joint digital payment mechanism enabling residents of both the countries to make easy and faster cross-border transactions. Unified Payments Interface or UPI of India and PayNow of Singapore have made a tie-up to facilitate these transactions. The facility was jointly launched by Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikant Das and Managing Director of the Monetary Authority of Singapore, Ravi Menon, on Tuesday. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with his Singapore counterpart Lee Hsien Loong witnessed launch through video conferencing. Terming this launch a gift for the residents of both the countries, Prime Minister Modi said, "This will add a new chapter in fintech connectivity." He said, professionals and students among others will benefit with this payment mechanism.
हमारे डिजिटल इंडिया प्रोग्राम से देश ईज ऑफ लिविंग में भी बढ़ी है और ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस भी बढ़ा है। ये भारत के डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की ही ताकत है कि कोविड पैंडेमिक के दौरान हम करोड़ों लोगों के बैंक खातों में सीधे पैसे ट्रांसफर कर पाए। फ्रेंड्स, 5 साल पहले मैंने सिंगापुर में कहा था कि फिनटेक, इनोवेशन और युवा ऊर्जा में विश्वास का एक बहुत बड़ा उत्सव है।
Prime Minister of Singapore Lee Hsien Loong appreciated the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, saying that the idea was first conceived when PM Modi visited Singapore in 2018. He expressed happiness that the linkage of two payment systems has become a reality now.
So I'm very glad that the PayNow UPI linkage has now become a reality. Cross-border retail payments and remittances between Singapore and India amount to over $1 billion annually. Over the years, we've progressively enhanced our cross-border payment connectivity. In 2018, Singapore's NETS worked with India's NPCI International Payments Limited to allow card and QR code payments between our two countries. And today, we are taking retail payments connectivity another step forward.
In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on US congressional delegation calls on PM Modi and deepening India-US ties.
India and the United States enjoy a comprehensive global strategic partnership covering almost all areas of human endeavor, driven by shared democratic values, convergence of interests on a range of issues, and vibrant people-to-people contacts. Regular exchanges at the leadership level and outcomes emerging from these visits have been instrumental in further strengthening the multifaceted ties between the two countries. Prime Minister Modi and President Biden are in regular contact, having interacted on multiple occasions. In addition to bilateral meetings, the Prime Minister has also participated in several virtual summits convened by President Biden. On the 24th of May 2022, at their interactions on the sidelines of the Quad Leaders Summit, the Prime Minister said,
भारत और अमेरिका की स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप सही मायने में एक पार्टनरशिप ऑफ ट्रस्ट है। मुझे विश्वास है कि भारत और अमेरिका की मित्रता वैश्विक शांति और स्थिरता, प्लेनेट की सस्टेनेबिलिटी और मानव जाति के कल्याण के लिए एक फोर्स फॉर गुड बनी रहेगी।
A U.S. congressional delegation of 9 senators, led by Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer, called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 20th of February 2023. The delegation included Senator Ron Wyden, Senator Jack Reed, Senator Maria Cantwell, Senator Amy Klobuchar, Senator Mark Warner, Senator Gary Peters, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, and Senator Peter Welch. The Prime Minister welcomed the congressional delegation to India and appreciated the consistent and bipartisan support of the U.S. Congress for deepening India-U.S. bilateral ties. He referred to his recent phone call with President Joseph Biden and the shared vision of the two leaders for further elevating India-U.S. comprehensive global strategic partnership to address contemporary global challenges. The Prime Minister and the U.S. delegation recognized the shared democratic values, robust bilateral cooperation, strong people-to-people ties, and the vibrant Indian community in the U.S. as strong pillars anchoring the bilateral strategic partnership. They discussed new opportunities for consolidating the India-U.S. ties in critical technologies, clean energy transition, joint development and production, and trusted and resilient supply chains. Recently, on the 14th of February 2023, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a warm and productive phone call with the President of the United States of America, Mr. Joseph R. Biden. They expressed satisfaction at the deepening of the India-U.S. comprehensive global strategic partnership, which has resulted in robust growth in all domains. The two leaders welcomed the announcement of a landmark agreement between Air India and Boeing as a shining example of mutually beneficial cooperation that will help create new employment opportunities in both countries. The Prime Minister invited Boeing and other U.S. companies to make use of the opportunities arising due to the expanding civil aviation sector in India. They also welcomed the first meeting of the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies held recently in Washington, D.C. and expressed a keen desire to strengthen bilateral cooperation in space, semiconductors, supply chains, defense, co-production and co-development, and knowledge and innovation ecosystems. They agreed to bolster the vibrant people-to-people ties between the two countries, which have been mutually beneficial. The two leaders agreed to remain in contact during India's ongoing G20 presidency to ensure its success. In the area of bilateral dialogue mechanisms, India-US 2+2 annual ministerial dialogue reviews bilateral ties in defense, strategic and security domains, as well as important regional and global issues. India-US relations enjoy consistent bipartisan support in the U.S. Congress. The India Caucus in the U.S. Congress, comprising the Senate India Caucus and the House Caucus on India and Indian Americans, is the largest single-country caucus with over 150 members. India-US defense cooperation is based on new framework for India-US defense cooperation, which was renewed for a period of 10 years in 2015. In August 2022, a U.S. Navy ship, USNS Charles Drew, was in Chennai for repairs and allied services. This was the first ever repair of a U.S. Navy ship in India. There are several defense agreements that have been signed between India and the U.S. They are Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Association 2016, Memorandum of Intent between the U.S. Defense Innovation Unit and the Indian Defense Innovation Organization, Innovation for Defense Excellence 2018, Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement 2018, Industrial Security Agreement 2019, Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement 2020. The bilateral exercises include Yuddha Abhyas Army, Vajra Prahar, Special Forces, a Tri-Services exercise Tiger Triumph, inaugurated in 2019. India joined the Multilateral Combined Maritime Force based in Bahrain as an associate partner in April 2022. In November 2022, Australian Navy joined the US India-Japan Malabar annual naval exercise. The US has participated in India's multilateral exercise Milan 2022. Cooperation in counter-terrorism is one of the pillars of the bilateral partnership, featuring information exchange, capacity building, operational cooperation and regular dialogue through the India-US Joint Working Group on Counter-Terrorism. India and the US also have bilateral cooperation in the field of security, counter-narcotics and cybersecurity and the energy sector. India and the US launched the Climate Action and Finance Mobilization Dialogue, that is one of the two tracks of the Climate and Clean Energy Agenda 2030 Security Partnership launched at the Leaders Summit on Climate in April 2021 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joseph Biden. The USA joined the International Solar Alliance in November 2021 and ratified the ISA agreement in September 2022. The Science and Technology Cooperation Agreement signed in October 2005 was renewed for 10 years in September 2019. India and the US have a long history of cooperation in the civil space arena in Earth observation, satellite navigation, space science and exploration. ISRO and NASA are working together to realize a joint microwave remote sensing satellite for Earth observation. ISRO has launched more than 200 satellites from the US on board Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle PSLV as co-passengers. There is long-standing collaboration in the health sector. Scientists from both countries have been working together to develop new therapeutics and diagnostics. India is actively participating in the US-led Global Action Plan framework launched in February 2022 to bridge policy gaps and for an end to the COVID pandemic. The field of education is an important pillar of India-US ties. Both countries share strong linkages and history of higher education collaborations. In 2022, close to 82,000 student visas were issued in India, mostly for graduate master's programs. Indian Americans are one of the most successful communities and excel in diverse fields, including politics. The Indian diaspora has been a catalyst in cementing closer ties between India and the US.
President of India Draupadi Murmu has said state of Arunachal Pradesh is an important part of India and is a major stakeholder in the central government's Act East policy. The President said this while addressing the special session of the Arunachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly in Itanagar on Tuesday.
माननीय सदस्यगण, अरुणाचल प्रदेश भारत का एक महत्वपूर्ण हिस्सा है और भारत की एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी में एक प्रमुख हितधारक भी है.
The President said that the Union government is giving top priority to the connectivity and development in the Northeast. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met Vice President of Guyana Dr. Bharat Jagdeo in New Delhi on Tuesday. In a series of tweets, Dr. Jaishankar said both the countries discussed their historical relationship and greater opportunities in trade, energy, agriculture and skills. He said both the nations also agreed that greater frequency of India-CARICOM contacts will further galvanize ties.
Defence Minister of India Rajnath Singh on Tuesday discussed ways to enhance defence industrial cooperation with the United Kingdom in a telephonic conversation with its Secretary of State for Defence, Ben Wallace. The Indian Defence Ministry stated that the conversation was cordial, positive and focused on the future growth of the bilateral defence relationship. It said that both the ministers discussed a wide range of defence and security issues, including regional developments and the Indo-Pacific. Briefly reviewing their ongoing defence cooperation, the ministers expressed satisfaction with their bilateral military-to-military engagements. A few potential areas of cooperation were also identified. The President of the Asian Development Bank, ADB, Masatsugo Asakawa, has said that despite the disruptions caused by the COVID pandemic, India remains the fastest growing major economy with expected 7% growth in the current fiscal. Mr. Asakawa met India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in New Delhi on Tuesday. This is Mr. Asakawa's maiden visit to India since taking over as the President of ADB in 2020. Mr. Asakawa also complimented Mrs. Sitharaman for India's G20 presidency and conveyed ADB's support for various initiatives India has taken under its G20 presidency. This is All India Radio giving you the world news.
Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday announced that Moscow was suspending its participation in a major arms control agreement with the United States. The New START Treaty is the last remaining nuclear arms deal between Moscow and Washington, and it was extended for 5 years in 2021. The treaty was signed in Prague in 2010 and came into force the following year. It caps the number of strategic nuclear warheads that the United States and Russia can deploy and limits the use of missiles that can carry atomic weapons. Speaking in his State of the Nation address, President Putin has stressed that Russia was not fully withdrawing from the treaty yet. He said Russia should stand ready to resume nuclear weapons tests if the United States does so, a move that would end a global ban on nuclear weapons tests in place since Cold War times. Mr. Putin has addressed the nation as the first anniversary of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine approaches on Friday. President Putin also spoke at length about the Russia-Ukraine conflict. He blamed the West for escalating the tension in the region, saying the US and its allies sought limitless power. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden delivered a speech in Poland on Tuesday after a high-stakes visit to the Ukrainian capital Kiev on Monday. Speaking at Warsaw, President Biden said democracies and democratic coalitions like NATO have only grown stronger in the last year. During his visit to Ukraine, which was organized in strict secrecy, President Biden promised Ukraine $500 million in fresh arms and unwavering American support.
The death toll in the fresh earthquake that struck Turkey's southern province of Hatay and northern Syria has risen to 8. Nearly 300 people are injured. Turkey's Disaster Management Authority said nearly 300 people were injured after a 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck the region again on Monday. The earthquake was reported just a few weeks after a strong quake of 7.8 magnitude claimed lives of over 45,000 people in both the countries. The recent tremors were centered near the southern Turkish city of Antakya and were felt in Jordan, Cyprus, Israel, Lebanon, and as far as Egypt, and followed by a second magnitude 5.8 trembler and dozens of aftershocks. India had sent women rescuers for the first time to a foreign country under the Operation Dost to help the people of the devastated earthquake-hit Turkey. 5 women rescuers were part of the National Disaster Response Force, that is NDRF. Briefing media about the operation, NDRF DG Atul Karwal said, "The lady rescuers have made the country extremely proud as they volunteered in these difficult circumstances." He said they received huge appreciation and respect from the local population for their contribution during this calamity. Israel's parliament, the Knesset, passed 2 bills that seek to overhaul Israel's judiciary after garnering a majority of 63 to 47 votes in a 120-member parliament. The bills, proposed by the ruling coalition, increases government control over judicial appointments and blocks courts from reviewing basic laws. The bills were passed in the first out of 3 readings amidst mass protests, which witnessed thousands of Israelis gathered in the streets blocking highways to the capital of Jerusalem.
In Mali, 3 United Nations peacekeepers were killed and 5 were seriously injured on Tuesday when their convoy struck a roadside bomb. The UN mission in a tweet said a MINUSMA force convoy hit an improvised explosive device in the central part of the country. The UN Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in Mali, MINUSMA, was created in 2013. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia on Tuesday addressed the World Health Organization WHO's high-level meeting on integrated people-centered eye care. Dr. Mandavia stressed the need to ensure equitable access to high-quality and comprehensive eye health with the use of the latest technology and innovation. He also highlighted India's multiple steps towards blindness management much before it was raised at a global level.
The Crown Prince of Denmark, Frederik Andre Henrik Christian, and Crown Princess Mary Elizabeth will go on a 5-day visit to India from Sunday. The External Affairs Ministry said the visit of the royal couple will be the first ever from the Danish royal family in 2 decades. They are visiting India at the invitation of Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. The first G20 finance ministers and central bank governors meeting will be held in Bengaluru on Friday and Saturday. Prior to this, G20 finance and central bank deputies meeting will be held on Wednesday. The meet will be inaugurated by India's Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur. Addressing media persons in Bengaluru on Tuesday, the Secretary in the Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Ajay Seth, has said that the first finance ministers and central bank governors meeting under Indian presidency will discuss a wide gamut of issues related to the shared global economic challenges of the 21st century. India will host the Permanent Mission Roundtables at United Nations headquarters as chair of G20 and ahead of the Sustainable Development Goal SDG Summit this year held in New York. On the 23rd of this month, a roundtable titled Gandhian Trusteeship, a panel discussion on sustainable lifestyles and enduring peace will be held. Consulate General of India, CGI, at Guangzhou in China organized Special Focus Week on International Year of Millets this past week which concluded on Tuesday. The consulate organized an exhibition cum food festival on millets for Diplomatic Corps based in Guangzhou. The samples of millets grown in India were displayed for exhibition along with their nutritional facts and health benefits. A special exhibition on International Year of Millets 2023 was also organized at various Indian restaurants based in Guangzhou, which was well received by the visitors. 4 Indian restaurants in Guangzhou, in collaboration with the Indian Consulate, are hosting a millet exhibition and are offering millet-based Indian dishes. As part of the Special Focus Week, a talk on the health benefits of millets was also organized on Tuesday by Ms. Christina Gui, a well-known dietitian based in Guangzhou. The talk was followed by a live cooking demonstration of Indian dishes made out of millets by a chef from an Indian restaurant based in Guangzhou. Members of Diplomatic Corps from over 40 countries attended the event and savored Indian dishes made from millets. The Indian millets were used for making the soups, pearl millets were used for making the green salad, and sorghum was used for making the Indian breads. Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Apollo Emmanuel, who is the Consul General of Congo, appreciated the efforts made by Indian Consul General in Guangzhou, Shambhu Haki, to promote millets. He mentioned that millets are very important for Africa. Consul General of USA, Lisa Heller, said she was delighted to learn so much about the benefits of millets.
I was delighted today to learn so much about the benefits of millet. I think we could all increase some knowledge about this around the world because it clearly has lots of wonderful properties and it could really do a great contribution to the environment and to people's nutrition. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Consul General of Tanzania shared that millets are wonderful and are very familiar and popular even in Tanzania. Most people in Tanzanian villages are depending on millets to survive.
We had Consul General's lunch and the Consul General of India presented something about millets, which is very popular and familiar in Africa, even in my country, Tanzania. Millet is like a staple food. Most of people in our villages are depending on millet to get their daily survival. So as we celebrate the year of millet, we would like to thank the government of India for recognizing this kind of food, which is very popular in our country. We encourage other countries also to allocate some land or encourage the farmers to produce more millets for the benefit of the people in our world.
Consul General of Indonesia said that millets are very environment friendly and useful. Consul General of Greece, Martino Mandalidis, congratulated CGI Guangzhou for the initiatives for raising awareness about importance of millets and its specific features and characteristics.
I would just like to congratulate the Indian Consulate for organizing today's event and for the initiative of raising awareness about the importance of millet and its specific features and characteristics. Millet is something that is sustainable and it really contributes also to making our planet greener and at the same time feeding our populations in a very sustainable way.
Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority signed a Memorandum of Understanding at Dubai with an international retail hypermarket chain Lulu Group for the promotion of millets in member countries of Gulf Cooperation Council on Tuesday. International Mother Language Day is being observed today. Union Home Minister Amit Shah wished the countrymen on the occasion. In a tweet, Mr. Shah said that this is the day to make a resolution to connect with our mother tongue and make it more prosperous. The Home Minister said all should take a pledge to make maximum use of their mother tongue.
Bangladesh observed International Mother Language Day on Tuesday by paying respects to the martyrs of its language movement marked as Amar Ekushe. People in the capital city Dhaka and all over Bangladesh paid rich tributes to the martyrs of the language movement, which ultimately paved the foundation of Bangladesh as an independent nation. Our correspondent has filed this report.
Starting with the historic resolution placed in the Parliament of Pakistan of February 25th, 1948 by the martyr Dhirendranath Datta to the brutal killing of protesters in Dhaka by the Pakistani army on 21st February 1952 and subsequent protests in which hundreds of people were killed, demand for Bangla as an official language of the then East Pakistan became the foundation of the Bangladesh nationhood. The country paid rich tributes to the language martyrs today. At exactly 1 minute past midnight, President Abdul Hamid, followed by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, laid a wreath on the central Shahid Minar in Dhaka to pay tribute to the martyrs of the language movement. Since then, a continuous flow of people had placed thousands of wreaths at the foot of the Shahid Minar in Dhaka to salute the brave warriors of the language movement of Bangladesh. Dignitaries and common people, young and old, women and children came out in huge numbers wearing black and white dresses to pay their solemn respect to the martyrs. Rajesh Jha for World News, All India Radio, Dhaka.
On the occasion, Indian educationist and social worker for the promotion of indigenous languages in Odisha, Dr. Mahendra Kumar Mishra was conferred the International Mother Language Award by Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in Dhaka. Speaking to Prasar Bharati correspondent in Dhaka, Dr. Mahendra Mishra said, the award is a recognition of the marginalized languages.
ये पुरस्कार मेरा नहीं है, हमारे देश के वंचित भाषा जिसको कि निरवता की संस्कृति में थे, उन्हीं लोगों की भाषा और संस्कृति आज परिचिति मिला इस अवार्ड के कारण। मैं आभार हूं कि हमारे उड़ीसा सरकार को, भारत सरकार को और बांग्लादेश सरकार को, जो कि उड़ीसा क्षेत्र दिया, और बांग्लादेश सरकार मेरे को और यूनेस्को, ये दोनों मिलके मेरा इस काम को सारे दुनिया में परिचय दिया।
Young Indian shooter Rudraksh Balasaheb Patil on Tuesday won the gold medal in the 10-meter air rifle individual event at the ongoing ISSF Shooting World Cup at Cairo in Egypt. The 19-year-old Rudraksh defeated Maximilian Ulbrich from Germany with a score of 16-8 in the final. Croatia's Miran Marisic took the bronze medal. This was Patil's second gold at the ongoing competition, having won the yellow medal in the 10-meter rifle mixed team event with Narmada Raju. With this, India's medal tally in the World Cup has risen to 4, including 3 gold.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Financial Times writes, Russia to suspend participation in nuclear arms treaty with United States. South China Morning Post writes, China won't arm Russia in Ukraine war, but does not rule out third parties, analysts say. Le Monde writes, in Poland and the Czech Republic, 1.4 million Ukrainians have found a new life. The Washington Post writes, Jerusalem demolitions gain pace under Netanyahu, enraging Palestinians. The Japan Times reports, anti-harassment website set up to help women running for office in Japan. A quick look at the headlines once again. India and Singapore launched digital payment mechanism for faster cross-border transactions between their residents. India's President Draupadi Murmu says Arunachal Pradesh is an important part of the country and a major stakeholder in its Act East policy. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh speaks to British counterpart Ben Wallace, discusses ways to boost defence ties. India remains fastest growing major economy in the world, says Asian Development Bank chief. Russia decides to suspend participation in the new START treaty for nuclear arms control with the United States. Death toll rises to 8 after fresh earthquake hits Turkey-Syria border, nearly 300 people injured. Diplomatic corps at China's Guangzhou hailed International Year of Millets 2023 celebrations by Indian consulate. And India's young shooter Rudraksh Balasaheb Patil wins gold medal at ISSF Shooting World Cup in Egypt. And now before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan Vaishnav Jan by artists from Russia.
Peter
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.